Good viewer, you are watching Xirtus. This is because Xirtus makes you feel good, makes you feel fulfilled. You are enjoying this. You will continue to watch Xirtus for a long time to come. You want to subscribe to Xirtus, and you will. You will like and subscribe and share. You will tell your friends. Tell your friends about Xirtus. Your friends will come to like Xirtus, much as you are liking this right now, as we speak. Thank you for subscribing to Xirtus. See, that was easy.
Hello. Welcome to the Xirtus.
What up, homeboys? How's it going? How are you all doing?
How you doing?
Oh, careful with that, David. Don't you remember? They made a rule.
That means A-okay. I'm an old schooler.
I thought that meant you're like halfway to meditation or something. David's also like back with us. We just did a thing yesterday I recommend people check out. That was pretty fun. And then Thomas has got the coolest shirt of the night. I like it. Beats my Jesse Lee Peterson shirt. Howard the Duck. Let's solo this for a second. Hold on. Beautiful. That's beautiful, man. Oh man, I feel like they need more Howard the Duck. Is it gonna ever come back? Like, are they afraid of it, or is Guardians of the Galaxy?
Oh, well, comic wise,
he's in the MCU now. You just haven't been. He's even voiced by Seth Green. Seth Green voices Howard the Duck, but he's only been like cameoed.
Yeah,
bringing him back to that degree with Seth Green, where it would be some like robot chicken shit.
I just gotta say that if they make another Howard the Duck in the cinematic Marvel whatever, we got to see duck boobs. There's no it's canon now that has to be one of the requirements for a true cameo.
Right.
Well, I mean, like, didn't like the new Wolverine movie, like, aren't they going pretty hard? It's like they called it hard R, which I think they mean a different kind. But
yeah,
not a Jesse Peterson version.
Disney's first hard R. Like, well, no, again, sorry, I don't know how to phrase it, but that's what they were trying to say, right? So, like, the idea that Deadpool might issue in R-rated Disney movies, and we might see stuff like that. I mean, why not?
Well, Disney bought Alien now. They bought the Alien franchise.
Yeah,
so the next Alien film is supposed to be Disney, and I'm wondering where they're going to go with that. I'm interested to find out.
Well, it's pretty clear that like the alien is a Disney princess. I mean, it's got
to be real, like Disney made. I think Disney's first R-rated movie was called Crimson Tide. It was just done up underneath their side.
They have a bunch. They had Miramax and Touchstone, and Pretty Woman was one of the early ones. But Kids was produced by Miramax, and we've discussed that before. I think at some point, where Kids was like, "Dude, that's Disney. Like, what the frick is going on?"
They also acquired.
It might have been their first successful one, but I mean, R-rated. Like, that's the thing is like Deadpool. What they thought that superhero movie that was rated R couldn't like racking dough, and pretty much both Venom and Deadpool, despite what you think of the quality of those films, racked in dough.
Right. Yeah, I thought they were good.
Deadpool is great. Deadpool is awesome. That's like my favorite Marvel anything is Deadpool. Yeah.
I thought Black Widow was pretty important, but yeah, Deadpool was.
Hear me out, Punisher Warzone. If you haven't seen it, it wasn't like a huge like blockbuster in the cinema, but Punisher Warzone is up there.
I used to read those comics, but I always liked his War Journal. Was that what it was? For Punisher comics? Like, I was surprised that they didn't take that angle more than Warzone, but whatever.
Punisher, the first, not the first, because there's the first Punisher movie is what, 1989. Punisher.
Yeah, that one was such a letdown. That one made me so disappointed as a kid.
I think you just didn't do enough cocaine as a 6-year-old. That's the way that movie is meant to be.
I don't think it was really Punisher. It felt like a movie that they shot. It was like a Super Mario Brothers 2 version of Punisher.
No, exactly. Now you're getting it. You're gonna have to go back and watch that movie and figure out who's it about, because you live in the state that movie. The names have been changed to characters from comic books to protect mafiosos.
Interesting. Okay.
That movie's about banking, like cocaine bankers who force clubs and restaurants to go dirty on the take so that they can pay their mortgages, which are inflated because of the interest rates of the new tourist destination, which is erupted in Miami. It's basically
wasn't the original
movie.
The original Punisher movie felt like it had the same formula as like a lot of those like Charles Bronson type movies, but it was like
because you're talking about a time period where like there were Predator toys, there were Terminator 2 toys. You could go to Walmart and buy a Rambo gun. These are all like.
Yeah, girls didn't want Barbies; they wanted the Spawn action figures. You know,
and wasn't the original Punisher? Didn't it have similar vibes to Predator 2?
Back in my day,
with Danny Glover.
So, Dave?
Just vibe wise, like they felt like they were both kind of like, I don't know. Wasn't Predator 2 like? What was that? Early 90s, like 92? I don't even know.
Yeah, I kind of see it. I feel like there was like a vibe shift between like what was becoming deeper into one thing and then tangentially more higher graphics, right?
1990.
So you've got like Predator, between Predator to like Alien 3. You know, Alien 3 is just a new. It's kind of like the Doom vibe of Super Nintendo to me. That's like what I think.
Oh, totally. Yeah, but I mean, it's actually not a bad movie, and it's a lot of it is just the aesthetic. Like, it has a really cool aesthetic. Like, that's what carries me through Alien 3 is just the way that the color palette and everything, and then it's like a dog alien, like, and I didn't get that completely when I was a kid. It's like, no, he used the dog to be born instead of a person, that's why it looks that way. But that was like that early computer animation too, where they just like, it was so impressive at the time, then didn't take long before it wasn't so impressive anymore, you know?
But it brings up like an interesting thing in the mythology of aliens, that is that the alien takes on the shape of whatever like gestates it or what
adapts, right?
Yeah,
because I mean, they're mainly the alien sync wise, the Alien franchise is mostly about abortion.
Yeah, totally. Well, not just abortion, but also just like the original Alien is like a psychoanalytic view of in the woman's consciousness, like what is her experience. And so yes, you can make that argument at the end when she's literally aborting the mission, and when she pushes that alien out, the way that it has that baby scream. And it's just like, it's just, but it's also, I think it's significant that you have the alien, first of all, his head is a dick. Like, he is literally like a dickhead. And I don't mean like Philip K. Dickhead, because those guys are cool. but like that she's been invaded. The ship is the mother. She refers to it as mother. And then it gets impregnated by this foreign entity, which gestates and grows inside of it. And it's like, from the perspective of the woman, as there's this alien thing growing inside of me. And just like, it's like a kind of psychoanalytic nightmare from the view of the dream.
I mean, it's basically Rosemary's Baby.
Well,
it is. And if I file it up underneath Beauty and the Beast for that reason. Like, most, like King Kong is the same way. Like, there's an impotence to the beast where the beast can't have the baby. Either it's through abortion or it's just the inability to like match with the female, like in King Kong. Like, how the hell is King Kong gonna have sex with that? You know what I mean?
Not. That's the joke. That's the point of the whole thing. That's
right. It's almost like a
is.
masturbation pun in a way.
Well, there's a strong like homunculus angle to this, which like it closes that gap between the dick's too big and the receptacle's too small, right? Because a homunculus also is rumored to take the shape of its host. Even in Prometheus, they get real deep into the lore, which I think makes this even more of a stronger argument, because the original concept of Prometheus is that they had an actual substance from God that allowed them to create life, right? But they used
Frankenstein, which is largely like swiped from Prometheus, is a Beauty and the Beast tale. And because it has to do with Frankenstein's, the doctor's girlfriend, and Frankenstein basically going, "No, she belongs to me." You know what I mean?
What about Frankenstein's bride then? That's why Frankenstein needs a bride, right? And it's not going to be her. It's like
there's a homunculus. The bride of the homunculus falls within the same context of like that idea, because the homunculus is almost like a donkey or a mule or whatever. Like they can't procreate. Like there gets to a point where it's like a copy of this is really, really I know it sounds goofy because it's not a great movie or considered a great movie, but Multiplicity with like Michael Keaton, when they deal with like the copy of a 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 copy always degenerates.
Yeah.
Actual.
Maybe, but at some point, one of those degenerates might actually be some weird way superior and like take over the world, right? Like you could have the dumbest Michael Keaton, but he's got like some other superpower.
Right.
That's what the royal family's hoping on. I think they've put all their eggs in that basket at least.
Wait, did you just try and work in David Koresh into that, or did you actually work in David Koresh into that? It's just like sneaks in there at some point.
Seals aren't going to unseal themselves.
Oh, multiplicity, like David Koresh and the whole Waco thing. Come on.
I'm not sure if you can't tie it there. I don't know. I was also thinking about the Garfield movie. Did anyone see the Garfield movie yet?
Oh, of course. Are you talking about the new Garfield movie?
The new Garfield movie.
No. I haven't seen A Tale of Two Kitties. I saw the first one, but no, what do we got?
So Chris Pratt plays Garfield. I feel like it's trash.
Who is Samuel L. Jackson? Is Samuel L. Jackson Dave?
Odie?
I'm tired of this motherfucking cat.
And Snoop Dogg. Yeah, there's a bunch going on with this movie, but Garfield
this
and Odie.
Cat always ordering motherfucking lasagna.
I don't want to ruin it for anyone who doesn't want spoilers, but Garfield and Odie are kidnapped by two dogs named Roland and Nolan and are taken to an abandoned mall. Garfield and Odie are tied up before they are rescued by Vic, Garfield's biological and estranged father, who Garfield resents for abandoning him in an alley when he was just a kitten. I don't know. I feel like there's like a certain amount of like Garfield is now an orphan in the hero's journey, which is weird because does anyone already see Garfield as that way?
Yeah, you're being a Zach Galifianakis bit right now, where he's like, you always have there's that friend that's just like, hey, have you guys seen the new Garfield movie? And it's like, oh yeah, Odie's still up to his old tricks,
I'm literally
you guys ever been sexually attracted to Bugs Bunny as a female? No, me neither.
I was just asking.
All right,
you just want a Lola rabbit at this point, no?
Lola. Woo.
Don't dig too deep. I think with the Garfield thing though, we're stepping into Chris Pratt is Chris Pratt synchromystic material or not? What do you think?
I think definitely. I mean, you got like Star-Lord, you got Passengers. Passengers is pretty damn thick.
Was good, and that had Shining references and stuff with the bartender and stuff. That was then it was like 2001 and The Shining at the same time,
right? Mixed together. But he's also been in quite a few other things. I just don't think that I've ever been like. I mean, he's part of like Jurassic mythology now too.
Right. He's part of all of the mythology now. Yeah. Of all of it, I feel like, right?
Like even the mythology of
like Guardians of the Galaxy,
like
Guardians
Dark 30 or whatever, like the whole mythology of how they killed Osama bin Laden.
Like if he's at the center of Guardians of the Galaxy, then he's the center of the Disney metaverse, which means that Disney can buy his way into all universes realistically.
I feel like we can map Chris Pratt's trajectory to like Tarot somehow, because his first role where he broke out, I believe, was Parks and Rec, where he's clearly the fool card, and now he's been through so many different movies and trajectories, and getting together and breaking up with Anna Faris. Like all these feel like they're like almost like a quintessential hero's journey at some point. Like Chris Pratt lived out his hero's journey, not in the movies, but like him as an actor going through movies.
Dude, right? And so that, like, what is Garfield? Because Garfield is like this huge meta, right? I feel like Garfield is the ultimate meta.
Is this the first one since the Bill Murray Garfield, or have there been more?
I feel like there's got to have been a few Garfield movies here or there. I don't know. There's a 2021 one with Chris Pratt, isn't it? Oh no, there's one. I guess there was one before this.
No, there's A Tale of Two Kitties is the sequel.
Okay.
And so that's what confused me. I was like, oh, so it's a new Garfield. But, you know, wasn't it the thing that Bill Murray said that he was tricked into doing the voice of Garfield because the director shared a name, or he thought that this was like one of the
Coen brothers,
one of the Coen brothers, because the writer.
Yeah.
And then he was like, and since it was just like a day where they're just like, okay, read this shit. And he just like read the stuff. And then like the movie came out and he's like, wait, who did I do this for? Like, what is this?
I can believe that. I don't know.
But he had to symbolically be the voice of Garfield, because the guy who did the voice of Garfield in the Garfield cartoon was the voice of Peter Venkman in the real Ghostbusters cartoon. And so like it got all twisted around, you know.
Well, he was that actor was the original voice of Garfield. So the original voice of Garfield was the original voice of Peter Venkman in the cartoon for Ghostbusters. And then when it went live action, they used Venkman's voice for Garfield.
Right. Yeah, they used Venkman from the Ghostbusters movie for the voice of Garfield, and they used the voice of Venkman from the Ghostbusters cartoon for the voice of Peter Venkman in I get so mixed up. But yeah, no, it's just
it is because there's a whole bunch more like connections and weird stuff that has to do with like Murray and that sync or whatever, but it's like too much. It's a little heavy to get through.
Do you have any thoughts on go ahead?
I was gonna say the most like Garfield resurgence and all these Garfield movies has the feel of like a venture capital company moving into like another corporation and buying the brand and trying to like relaunch their product under another brand's, you know, when like a big company buys like an Amazon seller and then switches up, they're like, now they're selling lunchboxes or something. It has that feel. Or does Garfield have some kind of cultural staying power that just flew over my head?
Well, yeah, doesn't it? That's the thing.
Lazy ass cat.
Just VC capitalists passing it from one to the other to like push whatever their thing is.
I feel like this brings up the conversation of like public domain, because a lot of what we consider to be the foundation of American pop culture, stuff like Mickey Mouse and Batman and Superman, are about to come up for public domain within the next like 10 years.
Hell yeah.
But we're also like halfway through for Star Wars. Star Wars is like coming up on 50 now. And
Star Wars already feels so ubiquitous that it like might as well be public domain. The only difference is people will be able to charge more, but like I don't feel like we're seeing any less Star Wars content.
We're to the point where fan fiction of Star Wars is getting more views than the actual TV shows that Disney is like. If you look at fan fiction on YouTube, they have more fucking views than the Disney Plus channel does.
Good.
Hey, you guys have seen The People versus George Lucas, the documentary?
Yeah.
It's pretty good, because the thing is that they basically show in that first of all, what you're saying, Thomas, absolutely. They're like, this is one of those rare instances that they've crossed a certain threshold with the fan stuff that it's just like they can't to try and control that they really can't, so they just had to like give up, at least with the original Star Wars. But the original Star Wars is apparently the only case where a director has tried everything in his power to get rid of the original version of his film. like to make it so it's no longer available.
Well, we don't know that for sure. I mean, there could have been some silent films that happened too as well. But yeah, it's a pretty distinct example though, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, do you have another one that you can name?
I don't know. Like, there's a lot of good questions about some things that have happened. Like we talked at one point about the Little Rascals movies, and a lot of them like were burnt. And there's a lot of examples in France as well with the Lumiere films that some of them.
The lost media channels on YouTube. Some of those blow my mind because some of them I think I've seen all the episodes. Like they're in my head, but apparently they're not on media anywhere. Like the original Disney live action Dumbo show, for example.
Right, we're talking about movies or shows getting scrubbed. That's one thing. This is
artists like to throw their art in the trash.
Director themselves single-handedly trying to get rid of their original.
Well, a lot of that world though.
How many artists do you know who like crumple up their art and throw it in the trash? And you're like, stop that. That's kind of how I feel. Yeah, a lot of artists do that, unfortunately. It's a sad thing. The Garfield thing to me is weird because it's like, it's so basic. He's wanting to have his own Snoopy and because Snoopy steals the show.
It's internet cat videos.
Dude, it's something. Yeah, it's something so basic that everyone. And that's the thing. Whenever you're talking about this handing property over, I don't see it changing that much. Really,
dude, have you seen the channel Lasagna Cat? There's like the YouTube channel, and there's like 2 videos on there in particular that are just absolutely fucking insane. Where it's just like this guy looking at that one. So see that you've already started watching it apparently at some point. Probably but this guy just forever he just analyzes that first Garfield comic for like how long? Like it's an hour long. And then like
it's not a pipe.
But there's even a longer one where it's just like it goes in a loop where it's just like I can't even do it justice. There's some crazy videos that this guy does, dude. It's nuts.
My God, I don't know. But yeah, like, see what I mean? This is exactly, maybe this is the feeling. This is that feeling right now. I don't know. All right. Here's also the Civitai model for Garfield comics. So if you want AI to generate Garfield comics, Paranoid American, Peeled not, but Paranoid American found it. That's pretty sweet.
Oh, there's also Garfield. There's Garfield without Garfield too. That comic series that just makes it so it looks like John is just like the most pathetic, like guy that just lives by himself.
These are amazing, by the way. Like already, like all you need is this at this certain point. The AI generated Garfield. Wow, this is blowing my mind. And then like you could have AI put words in, but really the messed up words are better because it's more half baked meme.
And you can make this a lightning Laura and literally have this thing generating a new 3-panel strip like 12 times a second.
Oh my God. Look at his feet.
Why?
Hope. Look at the end of it. Hope.
Oh my God. Yeah, just hope. I don't know. That's all I got about Garfield. Punisher was cool to me because like the first Punisher movie, his family's destroyed and he has to like hunt down the mafia again. So they kind of keep it with that same idea of the Florida mafia. But like, isn't the original Punisher cool? Like he was not, I mean, he started out as like a villain, right? And then he turns into a good guy.
Well, I mean, what it was that his family was killed and he needed vengeance. That's why I was relating it to like any Charles Bronson movie.
The comic book in the original comic book, I think he's he's a Spider-Man villain. He's trying to assassinate Spider-Man.
He's an anti-hero. What are you talking about? Original comic? Yeah. I don't know. I read War Journal. That was my main one that I read. I didn't really read the other ones.
The Thomas Jane movie did a decent job of like giving you a very superficial version of his backstory, where he's not necessarily like the good guy, but then his whole like wedding party gets taken out, including the bride, by bad guys on jet skis, and then he's like, okay, I can't let this go. And that's kind of the birth of the Punisher.
Well, it was the War Journal was like the Doonesbury of Punisher comics because there is so much writing. And I really like that. Like if I'm reading a comic book where there's just like, I'm really reading a lot. It's not just like jump from one image to the other. Like those can be cool, but I like the comics that had like a lot going on, like, in text,
I was a sucker for Punisher Max. Like the Marvel Max series with Punisher was next level.
I'm not familiar with that.
So the entire Max series is like, they don't just get shot. You see like brains coming out, and you see like like all the extra blood and guts that you don't normally see in a regular comic book. It's almost like an adult version of Punisher. That cover art doesn't really do it justice.
Yeah.
How often does a cover do a book justice?
I mean, usually it's the inverse, right? Usually the cover like sells you, and you open it up, and you're like, oh.
They're like, kids, don't go in this aisle. That's kind of the thing. Yeah, but it's pretty great. I would recommend as well. Oh, you want to see my game working on thing here real quick? How do I pull this up? Here is some of.
So this is a real Squid Game.
Yeah, this is exactly. But I think on that wave, things like in the ocean are pretty dog eat dust. Like, what's it called? Dogfish eat dogfish kind of thing. Like, so it should be pretty hardcore. I think.
So you're inspired by Echo, but it's squid instead.
Yeah, basically. And I've got Ed Annunziata as like a pseudo official consultant on the project, so Echo the Dolphin vibes abound. But
wow.
But definitely it's
awesome.
It's definitely its own thing in a lot of ways. Obviously, like it's not really the same point, and like there's a lot more that I think we can do. So I'm trying to figure out how I want to do that. There's things, I don't want to give everything away. But
special ability.
So that's the thing. There's a lot of special abilities that squids have, and I want him to be able to do all of them, like jetting, using ink. But when we find that squid have arranged whale bones in patterns at the bottom of the sea, that kind of implements the capacity for crafting. And there might be other things that they can do. And this right now, I've been mainly focusing on like procedural, realistic world. By the way, this also, I'm not an indie dev anymore. I've got people that are helping me work on this project, which is super sweet. So there's like 3 different people that have helped do the squid model was done by a guy in Spain. Like I got him to do specifically the main character model.
Was this Fiverr? What do you?
Yeah, I got it on Fiverr. I got a dude who I was like, hey, do you want to do this particular squid model? The rest of these models, a lot of them actually are just like real, like fish and squid and things like that. Like the whales, like those are all realistic assets that I've gotten from like just the people scan fish and like put them together.
Can I ask how deep you're into Fiverr commissions at this point?
I was like $30 for the squid, and yeah, I'm gonna do probably a couple $100 on the first prototype. I think in terms of like all of the things I can't do putting it together, but for the most part, I can do most of the things myself, at least up to this point. And so when we get into what I want to do in the future, that's where I probably want to do like I'll put out this on like Patreon or something, and then I'll do like I want to add like MMO, like online you can swim around with other things. You can swim around as like with other things. I think that's going to be one of the things I want to do. And then I have a friend that I met who is doing an enemy combat AI. So I'm going to implement a system that he was building, which basically it can be used for combat, but it can also be used for like Sims to run around and need to eat and drink and sleep and stuff like that. So I can make paths, right, where the AI sharks have to eat here and swim there and sleep here or something. And the whales do the same in different paths. And all these animals, the fish, then the swarms, like I also use this cool thing. Just as I was working on this, Unreal for like May put out like a free package which lets you do sea swarms of fish. So that made it like instantaneously easy to have these fishing like patterns, like schools of fish that swim around, right? Which is cool. But,
it's like GTA for Finding Nemo.
Yeah, well, it could be pretty weird. There's a lot of thoughts I have on what I want it to be, but I just wanted to show that.
Can I just float? I mean, I would love to plant the seed. I'm talking to the brain behind it. Could the squid slowly gain consciousness? Because you were saying before about maybe they're arranging whale bones, so maybe like they have a higher order level of thinking where you basically, one of those delineations is if you have a tool that you set aside and come back to later and use it for a different purpose than you originally used it for. That's like the big thing that they say that makes octopus so smart, octopi. But that the squid, if they can also do that, well, don't just say if, let's say that the squid that you're playing, like he's actually gaining, or they, or Zer are gaining consciousness. And you could be the one that actually is arranging all of the different whale bones and creating like cool little structures.
So there's
You're their guardian angel.
There's a pretty cool game called Ancestors, which is about that with humans, with monkeys. It's basically sort of a primordial ape thing, and you evolve a bit.
Holy crap,
there's
really?
definitely some influences of that are going into this. I'll say that for sure. And this game is cool, and it's a few years old, and I recommend it because it's on PS4 and 5 and stuff now.
Wasn't there a Sid Meier game too, like an evolutionary game that was pretty big for a while, like the early 2000s?
This game is really cool too because you can like carry like a monkey on your back, you know, and like do it like
in regular life all the time anyway.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. That's like there's definitely something to that idea. I think there's more. I also want to do, you know, basically with Echo the Dolphin, like Atlantis and Vortex Queen and things like that were very important to that story. And I've also talked with David Brin, right, who did the Dreamcast version of Echo the Dolphin and The Postman and finished the Foundation series. So there's going to be some influences from that idea as well, like uplifting. He also did uplifting series.
It's been a while since I played any of the Echo games. Did you ever get to go into like sunken ships and stuff? Like you find the Titanic and just like go on through it?
In the original Echo the Dolphin game, after the whale tells you that a storm that comes every 500 years is coming again, you have to go down to the sunken ruins through ships first into Atlantis. And yes, you go through all of it. And from Atlantis, you have to activate a time machine, which then brings you back to prehistoric times. And there's like velociraptors and giant fish monsters and pterodactyls and things. You have to jump over the water to get over places too. So you're going in and out of the area. And then you end up in like basically Alien 3, you know, at the end of it, because there's like the Vortex Queen.
Hey, Will, is your daughter stressing you out? Is that what's happening for you right now? Are you having an emotional moment? I can't help but notice that you're very up in the chat, you know, like, while you're doing the podcast, you know.
Yeah, I got distracted, man. I'm sorry. I let my guard down, guys.
We'll read some of these before he disappears. My daughter is hitting on David midstream. What am I missing?
I can hear her laughing like in the house. I'm pretty sure.
This isn't. But his Grand Empress says she's
in the house. It's just like that movie
Morgan.
where the babysitter keeps getting the phone calls.
What, Adventures in Babysitting?
And they're like, they're in the house. The phone calls. Then we traced it back to the house. Get out.
Okay.
Well, now would be also probably a good time for Paranoid American to share what he's been working on. I know you got a cool project that's coming out, and we got something to show.
And I know that we've been plugging it for a while now. We originally got it up to like 100, which was a big deal. And now it's actually going to be coming out. Now the only delay is I'm waiting on a cover. It'll be done in a week and a half, but I'm launching NASA comic, Never a Straight Answer, about Stanley Kubrick. And
there's some kind of pun in there about waiting for the cover, but let's Jimmy, do we have the tape? We have the tape?
Ready for a cosmic conspiracy about Stanley Kubrick, moon landings, and the CIA? Go visit nasacomic.com.
nasacomic.com, CIA's biggest con. Stanley Kubrick put us on, that's why we're singing this song. I'm nasacomic.com. Go visit nasacomic.com. Go visit nasacomic.com. Yeah, go visit nasacomic.com. Oh, nasacomic.com. CIA's biggest con. Stanley Kubrick put us on, that's why we're singing this song. I'm nasacomic.com. Go visit nasacomic.com. Go visit nasacomic.com. Yeah, go visit nasacomic.com.
Never a Straight Answer is a 40-page comic about Stanley Kubrick directing the Apollo space missions.
nasacomic.com.
This is the perfect read for comic, Kubrick, or conspiracy fans of all ages. For more details, visit nasacomic.com.
Gloriously based. I like it.
Did you play that at exactly 33 minutes in on purpose?
What? Me? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you mean by that. I don't even know what numbers
this has been something I've been working on for like 5 years, and it's more so like a love letter to all the Stanley Kubrick references and conspiracies that I'm familiar with, and the ones that I spent a couple of years trying to dig in. I got some from David's brain. He didn't know that. But I try to incorporate all the way to the point, that very last scene where it's zooming out and you see that like kind of maze. Well, that's the maze of boxes from Jon Ronson or Ron Johnson. I always get that mixed up. From his documentary. See, no, I screwed you up, but it's from his documentary. But the maze of boxes is the labyrinth from The Shining, and there's so many different little nods to his different movies and conspiracies all intertwined. It's got
Ron
like
Johnson. There's another Ron Johnson. Anyway.
It's got Don Rickles and a monkey, and the monkey like beats an astronaut on the head with like a chicken wing. It's crazy. It's like one of the coolest projects ever.
You got the damn Beatles in there. I saw. That's nice.
Right. Beatles. There's a whole huge sort of a splash page where what if Kubrick had directed them in Lord of the Rings, the musical? So we kind of like embrace the conspiracy as though they're totally true and show exactly like, okay, and here's how it played out.
All right, let's talk about the music. Where did that come from?
That was all AI.
Yeah, bro.
Come on, tell me about it, man. That's dope. What did you put in?
Suno.
Tell me the prompt.
Suno.
What the hell was the prompt?
Well, so the Suno, I mean, I can tell you the Suno prompt, I've found the absolute perfect sequence of like a genre. And I was using it because the late night conspiracies, I don't know if you've seen the 2 videos that I did with late night cartoons, latenightcartoons.com, by the way. But the one on Acoustic Kitty and there's one on JFK, but they got dinged because we were using like royalty-free music. So I went to the drawing board and I was trying to generate songs that sounded like that. Yeah. So anyways, the actual genre that I came up with, I need a drum roll here. It's dark, dreamy 1960s detective noir theme song. Ooh, and I've tried a lot of variations and trying to add surf rock and trip hop, like all different things. But that one was dark.
Like the Men from Uncle.
Nice.
Dark, dreamy 1960s detective noir theme song. I would recommend it.
I like Soviet and what's the word I like? Nogaku and funk. Because then you add like Japanese traditional like theater music, Soviet music, and funk, and then you get, where is it at? Hold on, check that.
The funk one, baby. It always does.
It does. It does. But then in this one, they fight. They fight so hard. I really like it when they fight like that.
That was the original soundtrack to Stalker, and then they had to make it this whole ambient thing. But yeah.
It's fun. I mean, maybe this is weird, but every time that I make a Suno track that has like these competing genres that don't make sense in your head, I always imagine, I think it's like the Shield series where Vic gets like the 2 bosses that go into the container overnight, and he just like shows up the next day, and whoever survived, like he gets to run the streets or whatever. That's every time I hit that generate, I feel like Vic throwing like 2 genres into a shipping container.
Dude,
gotcha.
I have a question. I actually want to show one, but now before I get further into it, you're using voices that sound like people, right? Like, so you don't have like you've got just in reference to like Chat GPT and Scarlett Johansson, right? Like, you guys have heard about this. Scarlett Johansson is this the right picture? Is suing OpenAI because the new Chat GPT voice sounds too much like her.
This is getting scary.
Shut up.
Yeah. That's what's going on. Because I don't think it really
because right now the only legal precedent that I'm aware of, and I'm not a lawyer, but I pretend to be one right now, is that if you use somebody else's voice or even hire a voice actor, but if you try and actually say that this is that person, or if you imply it very heavily that this is Scarlett Johansson, now you got a problem. But if you just happen to sound like a person and you never use them sounding like a famous person to market the thing. That said, Sam Altman, I think, is either playing like the ultimate free marketing troll play, or he's just not smart enough, which doesn't make sense. The not smart enough part doesn't make sense to like ask permission while you're already did the thing that you're asking permission for and risk the person saying no. And now you're like, uh-oh, you know what I mean?
But it doesn't really sound like her that much, does it? Or does it really sound like
I really don't think
does it matter? I mean, she's got a case regardless, right?
The idea of it being her and like that she was the AI voice in the movie Her is just it's too fat of a sink, dude.
Well,
like,
no, that's
maybe
I mean, I
they just
imagine
picked the person who would best represent like an AI female voice. Like her voice is here. Look at this. This is cool because this like brings it all full circle, bro. Like, have you guys seen this movie?
Oh yeah. Hold on. This is good. All right.
But what if she just said yes? Like, what if it was that easy and she was just like, yeah, use my voice. And then that would just like, she would be the official voice of AI and probably be like remembered for a lot longer than the person that said no.
How can you do this to me? The Channing Tatum, Scarlett Johansson fly her to the moon. Fake it, make it. Will they make it or fake it? Like
it's like you put in. It's like you put into AI. Yo, I want to use Scarlett Johansson for a movie, and AI spits out, make her fake the moon landing.
Dude, the only only reason it's okay is because like if it was Chris Pratt, I'd probably have to leave the room. But like,
dude, no, this is like legit crazy sync. Like even this conversation that we're having before we brought this poster up, we're literally discussing, will you make it or fake it? And that's kind of like what AI is in a way. It's like you're commissioning a computer to do work for you, but like that you're not doing. And then with the moon landing to be like that,
that's Hal's whole story. Like how the fucking computer in 2001, he makes it, he fakes it until he makes it. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like he's just making it up as he goes.
Yeah, it's true.
That's dope. That's dope.
Is that supposed to be chat? That's what ChatGPT is doing with their lawsuit. They're just like, whatever, we'll figure it out as we get to it, and it'll cost us what it costs us, and we'll figure it out.
Yeah, because if you seriously like think about it, if you typed into chatbot GPT and you're like, what voice in 2024 would be the best voice to use as an AI voice?
Gary Coleman.
And the whole internet will spit back
clearly
Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
I feel like it probably, it just, that's the thing though. Now, yeah, like you said, like it's reinforced this marketing because people will associate ChatGPT with not just Scarlett Johansson, but her. And so it's now like the definitive. I mean, that's the greatest thing.
What does that mean? What does that mean for the new Joker movie with Lady Gaga?
Good question.
She's available as a Fortnite skin right now.
If you look at Sam Altman's like expense tab right now, like whatever the tab that he ran up at the bar with all the AI training and stuff that they're doing, I think that the consequences of getting sued by Scarlett Johansson is like not even like a fart in a puddle compared to like everything that he's burning through. Like it's just like, and I just paid for your entire lawsuit now, and now. You know what I mean?
Dude, I don't know who Grand Empress is, but she just called it with just saying
is she
Ex
back
Machina.
in there?
No, I don't know.
Ran her out.
Who cares? Who cares? I'm looking at Ex Machina, and it's weird because moments before that was written there, I was thinking of Ex Machina because is it
Ex
Under
Machina
the Skin?
is Beauty and the Beast.
Right, because what is it? Is it Under the Skin?
That's Beauty and the Beast. Channing Tatum and Scarlett Johansson. As far as like
let David finish. I'm holding him back.
Was Under the Skin, is that the one with Scarlett Johansson where she's like she's an alien, or we don't really know, is she a demon? And she's looking for so Under the Skin, this is the thing, if you start Under the Skin at the exact same second as Ex Machina, they'll cut to credits on the same frame, they'll cut to black on the same frame.
And what was the movie I said was the other one that I thought was okay? Black Widow. That's
Black Widow. That's right.
Back full freaking circle. Okay.
Right. But Under the Skin and Ex Machina are the same movie from two different perspectives. So like so on one level you have the alien that gets sacrificed at the end, if you've seen Under the Skin, right? And then at the end of Ex Machina, the robot gets freed. and they liberate the robot. So it's kind of like this between the two of them together, they're kind of this crazy statement on how the technology takes precedence over the organic. Because even like what she is, like, she's not like, this is a movie about like her own redemption as this alien or demon or whatever the fuck she is. They don't ever tell you, but like she's killed at the end. Sorry, spoiler alert. But like she's sacrificed, and then the other one is just like, set free. Like is
it Lilith or what?
I think it's Kabbalah. Yeah, I think that those two movies work together as a larger Kabbalistic statement, and I think it was intended, just probability wise, what are the chances that they would cut to black on the same frame? Like, it's crazy. And like I didn't experiment with like other films with those two movies. Like I just was like, I saw the resonance, I put them together, I was curious, and they just freaking do that. So yeah, it's on the website, by the way.
There's probably a sync in here too. I'm just not seeing it, but Scarlett Johansson was the voice for Ka in the Jungle Book remake, the huge snake.
What is a Ka?
Feels like
what is a Ka?
She's Lucy and Lilith. Like there's a thing.
Yeah,
like,
Lucy was the first years before that.
Yeah, because Lucy is the first female, right?
Right.
But with the Ka, the snake, she's also
right.
Lilith.
So she's Eve and Lilith. That's nuts, man. It's Kaa, 2 A's.
Yeah, but bruh, Ka is the Egyptian part of the soul, right?
Right. That's immediately where I went.
Also,
how many A's are there in Egyptian?
She's also like the Akashic record.
Oh, I got a couple super chats. Hey, members only, we love you. Mythoclass, the Toy Story Shining Moon Landings thing has me all worked up. It's beyond incredible. Yeah,
right?
It's pretty brutal.
We were talking about that yesterday. Yeah, that's mind blowing.
And Stefan says, I'm interested to know if David Plate or Noidican, and by the way, everyone should spell David that way. That's how I spell it. Noidican are aware. It's the only way.
That's the Hebrew spelling, actually. Yeah. Dalet, Vav, Dalet. Yeah.
I saved the AA batteries for my dad's remotes. Noidical are aware of Bill Maher's 1991 movie Pizza Guy and her Kid Love production company. You guys know about Pizza Guy?
No,
but I know this came up before when
like
the big Q thing happened,
dude,
but I don't know
I feel so dumb. I feel so dumb about not seeing this, okay? Because the thing is, I've seen so many Bill Maher movies. I used to like Bill Maher when I was a kid. I used to stay up late at night under my bed so that I could watch Bill Maher's Politically Incorrect on like on ABC television, like 1998, 99, 2001. Yeah, I saw all those episodes and I loved that show. I did. And anyway, then 2001 happened. He was in what's that show he did? Real Time with Bill Maher. And and both times, first thing he does is he gets his show canceled when September 11th comes up on Politically Incorrect. Second thing he does is he just like becomes like a complete shill, and then you start digging deeper and you're like, oh wow, he's the key to the Playboy Temple of Apollo, and he's like got tunnels under, okay, there's a lot going on with Bill Maher, probably. Like then he's got this cool movie, the Avocado Girls, the cannibal women in the avocado jungle, right? Which is pretty high production value, kind of interesting movie. I don't necessarily.
Tweed.
I don't.
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas fame for 3 seconds.
Yeah, there's.
And that's the girl from Swamp Thing at the end that I was talking about yesterday. Yeah.
So there's a lot of ties there. It's kind of related to Cannibal Holocaust, which is the Italian cannibal film, which is pretty good. Also, that's actually the movie I would recommend. That movie before I recommended Cannibal Women in the Avocado Jungle of Death, but. U.S. government grows worried for the nation's avocado supply after some confrontation with the Piranha tribe of cannibal women who live in the mysterious avocado jungle. And then they send in the professor, right? And so the professor it's kind of like one of those adult comedy rompy, he gets to be around all these ladies thing. And that's when he decided he didn't want to be in movies, allegedly. But then there's another movie that I never saw called Pizza Man.
Huh.
I've definitely not seen this before.
Yeah.
So, what was the other connection that they were saying with the production company? Is it the
well, his production company was called Kid Love Productions, which is something I probably wouldn't Google on my computer.
I'm doing it. Kid Love Productions.
Bill
you know
Maher.
what I mean? Yeah, bro.
Bill Maher made a movie about a pizza man, and he couldn't leave Hollywood to make it.
Yeah, there it is right there. It says Kid Love Production. Kid Love Inc. Yeah, Incorporated. So that's the name of his company. So it is what it is. Pizza Man, a delivery man with a reputation for never having delivered a cold pizza or being stiff on a bill. When a call comes into his shop for an extra large with sausage and anchovies to go to the dangerous part of
this
East
is so hard
Hollywood.
to read in a post-Comet ping pong world.
Yeah. Elmo knows he's in for trouble. By the way, the pizza man's name is Elmo Bun.
Well, at least Elmo has never been tainted, right?
Yeah, and it also has Annabelle Gurwitch, which is kind of interesting, right? Because she's done some pretty interesting things, right? She's got some pretty weird stuff.
Mobile, Alabama.
She made that. What was that movie she made?
Jewish family from Mobile, Alabama.
Have you seen her movie Melvin Goes to Dinner?
Maybe.
It's all taken and it's all in one take, kind of like My Dinner with Andre.
Yeah.
And it's all about like a everyone's hiding secrets from each other at the table, and then they end up revealing all these things.
That at one point. This is older, right? This is like from the 90s or something.
2001, maybe 2003.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, 2003. Okay. Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while.
So I don't know. Like, it's interesting to me because he doesn't talk about that one. I don't know why after the Pizzagate world he wouldn't talk about being, Elmo Bun, the pizza man in Kid Love Productions. Seems like something cool to talk about. Like, I don't know. Like, I'd be like, yeah, well, I lived through it. I feel like that would be interesting to hear about.
I mean, if he wants to lean into the whole politically incorrect thing, but I don't know. It's almost like
that's like cachet, you know what I mean?
He's just hot boomer takes is all he does now. It's not even politically incorrect at this point.
Right.
Yeah, he just got fucking. He does
a podcast called Club Random, which is basically the same thing as like Joe Rogan, where he gets with individuals who he knows and smokes weed.
Yeah, I get that he's trying to rip off our show, but
what a horrible idea for a show. People that know each other and just smoke weed all the time.
Here, I don't know. Yeah, but we had that argument before.
But I mean, that's like what he's known for. It's supposed to be like a fucking. It's supposed to be an offshoot of politically incorrect, or the other one. What was the other one he did after, or he still does?
I don't know. Did you see him on Megyn Kelly the other day when he just totally humiliated himself with saying some bullshit? He was like, was he saying that? He said that Hillary never called Trump an illegitimate president, and then it's just like roll the clip, like there's more than one. It's like that whole contested election thing. I think we're at a place now where we're never going to be. We're never going to be able to have another non-contested election. Like, I don't think it's possible because we've just gotten to a point now where it's like we have no, like, how could we ever not do that now? Like, is there a way out of that?
I think that's how it is. Like, we've crossed that threshold where there is no, like.
I think we just have to start informing. We have to start informing people that the elections don't elections haven't been happening legitimately for a long time, and the way people think, what better to be said is what people think a legitimate election is not the system that we employ in most any country, right? In terms of direct democracy versus representative democracy, most people have been informed into the position of consent, where they say, okay, well, this is kind of how it has to work, and it probably would be impossible or too dangerous to try to do it another way. But we need also probably to push people to realize that the idea of a ill-informed or misinformed populace, however intelligent, because it doesn't matter, you could be really smart and just be misinformed or ill-informed on a subject, and that people are having those votes be persuaded in any such way on such a large scale is causing the idea of democratic processes not to make sense at that scale. So we need something. And this is the thing, democratic processes are not a pure thing. They're a mechanic, and we use them in a republic for that purpose. But we could also tailor around that in other ways. The fact that we're doing it with a representative system that's using, congressional people, that could be, the congressional representatives could be replaced with server node districts that help it make more sense in regional population who is actually existing, right? Because we don't have a clear idea who lives where, and we don't know what is the point of representing each state by these numbers anymore. Like, it's not even about population. It might be about influence of like gross domestic product or trade or something like that. And the other thing is, these representatives, we don't know if they're really going to do what the people say. In fact, often they just do what they want to do anyway. So it's too many. Like, it would be easier to have automatic systems that took that into account if that's what we were looking for. So, the regional governors should be in charge directly of the planets that they're in control for the empire.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it seems like that's it. Like, I don't know how the only way that you could ever do it is if people were given trust back with government on some level. And that's only going to happen. The only way that could ever happen in a million years is if we had full transparency, admitting the places where we already know that they're lying, like Republicans and Democrats alike and everyone in between. Like if we know on both sides that the government's lied about a lot of things. If they just came out with all of that and we're just like, hey, we need that, otherwise we'll never have another contested election ever again. I don't even think it's a remote possibility without that. Dude, people just don't trust it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I see that there's not enough incentive for the elite to like have a transparent system, but that's what's holding us back from having it, because most corporations have a pretty good way of knowing what's going on. Like a bank has a pretty good system and it knows what's going on in the bank. So it seems pretty reasonable to have a government that has a system that's efficient if it wanted to, but this is too practical. And so the ends don't outweigh the means, right?
Yeah. Do you remember that shadow app? That app that Pete Buttigieg's campaign manager's wife had like stock in, or more than that. Like there was, remember that? There was like it was the Iowa caucus. I think it was that was 2016, right? It's the Iowa caucus, and it was like everyone was expecting Bernie to like do well because he was polling well, and then all of a sudden they came out with the results, and it was like Pete Buttigieg was like way in the lead. And then they were like, why is Pete Buttigieg in the lead? This doesn't make any sense. And then it turned out that they were tallying the votes using this system that they'd never used before with this app. And then it was like so Bernie's campaign team came forward and said, look, these numbers are wrong and we can prove it. And so they adjusted it, and then they put Bernie in the lead. Bernie was the first candidate to win all 3 caucus states in American history. And then they made a rule right after that. So they saw that they had manipulated it. It was shown that it was manipulated. It was proven. They changed the results. And then instead of being like, oh, well, maybe this was helpful, they said, we're going to make a rule that people's campaign team can no longer tally the results themselves. And so that was like, it was weird that they used that app in the first place. But this was also right after Groundhog Day. And I thought it was freaking weird that like Pete Buttigieg like totally looks like a groundhog. And the app was called Shadow App. And it was like this weird thing where it's like, did Pete Buttigieg see his own shadow? Like, I don't know, man. It's fucking weird.
He does kind of, doesn't he? It's kind of weird.
He's a groundhog. Look at him.
I feel bad though, because like he already has that name. So it's like it's not nice. Okay, how about this one? What do you guys think about the localizers? Do you guys ever watch anime? Ever? Okay. So do you read your anime usually? Probably.
No, I'm not doing through the manga or whatever.
You guys do the dubbing? You like listen to the English version of it?
I usually do that if I have to.
I'll mostly use subtitles.
Yeah. You read it. Yeah. I mean,
read it. That's what you mean. I thought you meant like the.
I don't know, because maybe you speak Japanese. So here's the problem with that. Okay, so like when you watch anime in America, what they're gonna do is they're gonna like anime. They're gonna have localizers, and so localizers are people that translate it, but they don't speak Japanese. They're just localizing the content. So, for instance, let's say a girl walks in a scene and says, somebody said that some boys didn't like my outfit, so I started trying to, wear something a bit tighter. And then the other girl says, well, you should start working on, your body next. Like lose some weight, basically. And because the localizers don't like that, and because it seems like to imply patriarchal messages, in other words, because they think that not only is the Japanese cultural values and the Western cultural values different, but that their Western cultural values are their progressive values objectively, and that those values are objectively better than the Japanese values, and that it's an embarrassment perhaps for the Japanese to present themselves as they truly are, and that they should be filtered, censored, and this is what you get. Let me just show you really quickly. Hold on. This is the translated scene.
What are you wearing that for? Oh, those pesky patriarchal societal demands were getting on my nerves. So I changed clothes. Give it a week, they'll be begging you to change back. Huh?
There you go. So that's how they change, the lines around. And this is a basic example, but you'll see other where they say like, oh, I yeeted you all day. They use all these weird like Reddit terms and all these like useless slang, which bothers me maybe slightly more. But there's other things too, where there'll be like a boy who cross-dresses sometimes privately in his room, and they turn it into he's a transgendered person, and it confuses the whole story because he's not a transgendered person. He's a guy who cross-dresses by wearing what he deems as the female archetypical clothing style when he's alone in his room, you know. And so these are like things that are cultural to them, and they're just like, when people talk about lost in translation, this is like a major reason, is because some of these people are refusing to present honestly the material, right?
Well, that was convenient. You just recalled Scarlett Johansson when you said Lost in Translation.
Oh wow, my God, I can't.
You didn't even mean to do that, probably. And Bill Murray, back to Garfield too. Garfield
and Groundhog Day.
Yeah,
Groundhog Day.
Exactly.
It's just all coming together too fast. I'm scared.
Oh God, that's too much. Yeah.
They're gonna fire all the localizers. AI started doing the work faster and better. All of a sudden, I'm going to start probably listening to AI in English because, I've always known this. Like if you ever watched, Sailor Moon or something as a kid, then like you just can't expect to actually watch a Japanese show in America. It's not allowed, essentially. They'll do something to it that's just horrible. It's evil. It's blasphemy. But so
I
what you got to do?
Watch my tentacle porn, and all I'm getting is like this whole other thing now.
You get a whole feel on the patriarchy every time you just
really weird. It's really weird. Yeah. So,
I do. I mean, you're making kind of a funny point though, but and this isn't to discount the damage I guess the translators have done, but I feel like a lot of the anime that I've actually seen would be so like Ninja Scroll, for example, like. The whole premise of that, I couldn't imagine someone trying to smooth over large swaths of that without it kind of like losing it. Or you could try as hard as you want, but unless you're actually editing the video out, like you couldn't like translate your way out of some of the scenes that happen in that movie.
That's that's what they're trying to do more and more. Like, so Funimation was having that problem, and there's a few of these companies have officially in the last like 6 months to a year started apologizing publicly for what has happened to their anime, because like the westernization, they're cutting scenes, moving scenes around. It's worse than Americanizations of movies in the 30s or 40s, where they're like, we don't want to let's just cut this piece of film out of the thing and we'll just make it like
Mormonization of movies.
But it's not even just the sexual stuff. It's like, let's just make this movie 60 minutes, or like for whatever reason, like it's just not moving fast enough, like for this dramatic scene, so they like remove it and things like that.
This could use a Hyundai commercial right here.
Yeah, so that's been a major, like Funimation started realizing like they have way more people that were trying to watch their subtitle stuff, and people were complaining and actively sending them messages that are like, hey, have you seen what they did? And a lot of the time they didn't care for the first few years because it's Japan, and they don't like, how could you care about Westerners? Like, really? I barely knew.
It's like the inverse of riff tracks a little bit, like where riff track sometimes adds crass humor and crass commentary to something that might otherwise be somewhat neutral, right? But like they're trying to make the neutral out of something that's crass.
I think they're also kind of like surprised and they find it humorous. So like the woke West is so like humorous, like, oh, like maybe that would be good to show them in their own, like we can speak in bookie boo boo boo, like whatever they need. Like they probably think it's kind of adorable, but then they find out, like this year especially, so many of these companies are getting these, like there's the petition for the Stellar Blade Girl to be returned to the pre-American Sharia, the way she used to be in Japan, the way people paid for it. Like all of these things that are like the Japanese are like, wait, you mean the Western market isn't just like happy with what, like, you mean that the Western market is being held hostage by these corporations that are not representing the values of their people? It's like, it's not, it's so antithetical on a bureaucratic level, right?
Well, they haven't learned. You just got to buy everything through My Pillow. That's the only way to really be free of all these nasty corporations out here.
Well, there was didn't Ghost, so Ghost in the Shell with Scarlett Johansson, there is a live action thing, right? And so did they do an Akira live action that I missed, or did that happen, or is Akira still just
it's planned, but it doesn't exist, and they keep trying to do it for the last 20 years. 2023 stated they aim to begin working on it after Watiti is going to make it after the Star Wars film.
Keep Watiti away from that shit. Jeez.
Keep Watiti away from everything. Oh, produced by Leonardo DiCaprio. The Akira film.
Oh my God, no!
Produced by Leonardo
Do
DiCaprio.
not allow abort.
That's scary. Yeah, and probably we'll have Scarlett Johansson and Chris Pratt. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know that yet, but it could be. I don't know. The Ghost in the Shell movie though. That's there's something to all this. So what is Scarlett Johansson, dude? What is like the Scarlet Woman? Is she the Scarlet Woman?
Right.
Is that the point?
But that's
Scarlet,
part
son
of
of
it.
Scarlet,
You can divide it up. She's a little bit of this. She's a little bit of that. She's a little bit of Scarlet Woman. She's a little bit of Eve. She's a little bit of Lilith.
Johan means God is gracious. So she's the like Scarlet Woman of the Son of the Gracious God.
Well, you know, there's a great Jake Kotza video on Scarlett Johansson. I think there's actually two where he takes two different angles on it. And one of them, it's like Scarlett with like two A's, like AA, because he shows that in every movie she does, practically 99% of the movies she's in, she's drinking alcohol. And like sometimes it's like a heavy
focus.
Charlize.
That's
Charlize Theron. And I got confused because we were saying Scarlett, and I was thinking of Scarlet Woman, and then she's Charlize Theron because of Mega Theron.
I'm not
both
convinced
of
Charlize
them
Theron
are
is
the
a
same
woman.
archetype. They share an archetype.
They share an archetype, but they don't share the same symbols. Now, it's true that in some videos that Scarlett Johansson is getting people drunk, like in Lost in Translation and stuff like that. But it's not as pronounced as it is with Charlize Theron, who is like a drunk in like multiple
like
movies.
all of them. And even since he's made that video, I've been like, dude, I want to like add to it because it's like every time I see Charlize Theron in a movie, she's there drinking again. It's like it doesn't even matter. She could be pregnant.
But that goes back to Babylon. It goes back to Babylon. It's like a thing that is brought forth by Carl Jung when he says that Babylon gets the public drunk or intoxicated.
Right. That's it. That's totally it. And then that's the thing is like even in Prometheus, when she's a fucking robot, she's still drinking vodka. It's like it doesn't matter what it is. She's still
it's fucking weird. Like in what is the other one? Bagger Vance. Like she's always drunk. Like it's weird. It's weird. It's weird. There's when you really like add it up. The Devil's Advocate. The first like few scenes after they get out of the trial is them doing like shot after shot. And when you like when you mix them together, it's really pronounced that Charlize Theron is like a drunk, portrayed over and over, and that has to do with Babylon. But not who we're talking about though.
Spirits.
No, but it might as well be. And that's like for real. Like, and even like you brought up like Lady Gaga and the new Joker. It's like Lady Gaga's whole thing. She's Gaga because of Radio Gaga, which is Metropolis, which is Babel. And they just they play on this archetype in every conceivable way with certain women.
So evil.
They get picked and then they're just like, this is what you're going to do, and this is what you're going to be for like the rest of your career. It doesn't matter what it is; they're gonna still play into the symbolism. It's crazy,
but they have like their lane. You get what I'm saying?
But it's from the very beginning, because when you see Charlize Theron, what was her very first movie? It was Children of the Corn 3, and her first scene that she ever appeared in a movie, they're in church and they're talking about the Beast of the Apocalypse and the Scarlet Woman. Like that's her first scene she was ever in any movie in all time, you know. And
but they blend. Like Charlize is different, you know, than anybody else who dabbles in that, whether it be Conley. You get what I'm saying? Like they all have like Scarlet Woman ties, but only in their own like symbol set. And that's what I call it. I call it like a symbol set. And I think of it like individuals have certain amount of symbols, like Charlize has the alcohol. You get what I'm saying? And it's kind of like part of, but not the entirety of the Scarlet Woman. And then you have Scarlett Johansson that has like tarot, and it has so many other different aspects of the Scarlet Woman, but she's still the Scarlet Woman.
Right.
Go ahead.
I'll just argue that there is a link here that Charlize Theron could be like the Moonchild version of the Scarlet Woman, whereas Scarlett Johansson is almost like the Moonchild nurtured and grown up into the actual Scarlet Woman, right? Because isn't that sort of the progression from starting as Moonchild in a weird way?
Well, it's all about the Crowley angle on it too. So it's not just that we're talking about like the Book of Revelation. We're talking about all that's been espoused by these occultists and the particulars. So it's like, as far as I can tell, the thing with Charlize Theron, it's the blood of the saints. So like the drunkenness of Babel, like what it seems like they're playing on is everything. So she's in Monster.
Her name.
Like Theron. Yeah, so Theron is spelled differently here than the Greek Theron, but neither of them are English anyway. It's fucking Greek, so it's phonetically accurate. So like even that means monster. It's like, and that's why Lady Gaga did the Fame Monster, because Babylon wanted to make a name for itself. The Shem, that's the verse, and so and then it's the monster because that's the Megatheron.
Yeah,
and so
but Theron also has to do with Crowley because that's what Crowley called himself.
Yeah, the two Megatheron. Yeah.
So it all is like Beauty and the Beast. Like Theron's, like Charlize Theron's whole shit is like 120,000% like Revelations, but it's different than Scarlett's.
Yeah. By the way, if people want to see that, that's if you go to Vimeo and you look up Seal Lion, which is an anagram for All Is One, and it's also Lois Lane. But if you go to his Vimeo page and you scroll down, you'll see Charlize Theron with the A's capitalized, and there'll be two of them. And it's a great video. It's fucking nuts. But what gets me about a lot of his videos is that he sets up these archetypes and he shows how they're playing it out. And then oftentimes it's like from after the time that he made the video, it gets even more pronounced, like with where they went from there. So there it is, Charlize. Yeah. And then the other one there is Theron.
Charlize Theron, but he made her name like Alcohol's Anonymous.
Right. So even
he doesn't even say the whole Babylon shit. That's what's great about Jake.
He doesn't have to, and that's exactly.
He doesn't have to.
Yeah. Jake is rad. I'm a fan eternally. He's great. Yeah, it's some nerd core synchromysticism. Like he pretty much spearheaded a certain style of synchromysticism. I don't completely resonate with it, but I'm glad he exists and I'm glad he does what he does. You know, it's just like sometimes he'll make connections and you don't even know like what it is that he's trying to get at, and you don't even know if he's even trying to get at anything. He's just like, here's this crazy parallel. What do you think of that? You know?
Wow. Yeah, we should get Jake on soon. That'd be cool.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, we should reach out to him.
He's active right now. He's got like a setup. So
I think I reached out to him. I talked to him randomly like a week ago, but mainly we got in a fight about how Unreal Engine is cool and how he was wrong about that. But hopefully that'll be fine. I think that was great. We made some friends in the argument. How about this? Harvard will no longer make public statements on political social issues. Administration says they're going to stop making.
What does that even political? What does that even mean? What does that mean? Well, Harvard will no longer, like, what, the university official statements from
the official statement of the university is that they will only make official statements from now on core functions, right? And I know how that, like Harvard affects the lives of every one of us, but I'm just saying that the idea that Harvard wants to stop this now is only because they've had students protesting against Israel, right?
That's what it looks like, yeah.
I mean, isn't silence violence? So by not saying something about certain
especially when Jews are involved, this is a bad idea.
I love that. I love that. Like I saw like Sean Lennon had shared a picture of a monk on a mountaintop, and it says somebody needs to tell this guy that silence is violence, and he's just like sitting there by himself, and you're like,
that guy's a mass murderer at this point. What kind of blood is on his hands?
If you see the Buddha on the road, kill him, because otherwise he might get you. I don't know. I think that's interesting because how long can this last? Is this going to set precedent for other schools? Like, because it's kind of an interesting idea. Like, if schools were to stop having political opinions,
I think it's even scarier to me because at least like right now, schools having these political statements and stances publicly, it's kind of like a loud, drunk racist where it's like at least to avoid this area, avoid this person, and when everyone's forced to contain it. Now, because it's not like the school's going to stop indoctrinating people with their horrible politics. They're just going to stop being so vocal about it. So there's less, kind of like lashback, I assume.
Right. And so Nehedar points out that they never got into the game until George Floyd. And so there's something to say about that because they screwed up. So like, and like this actually a lot of whatever it is that your opinions about Israel are, like the way that this is organized screams of BLM. So like, and even like BLM, like right when October 7th happened, their like official like social media thing put out this like an image of some like a paratrooper with the what do they call that thing? The not just a parachute, but I guess parachute, but you know, the way they glided in there, and they had it as like some kind of statement that was like supposed to be like this is for justice or something. It's like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Like Hamas is awful, like, and Hamas is not helping the Palestinian people.
Whoa.
And there's
what happened to neutral ground here?
I'm not going to be neutral about that. Like, I'm not going to be neutral about like, fucking Hamas, dude.
If
like,
if any government is helping any people, please like let us know. I'd like to know about them first.
Have we just gotten to such a polarized place that multiple things can't be true at the same time? Like, if you make one statement, it's supposed to negate that other. That like. It's just that's the way we are politically too. It's like every time somebody wants to have a criticism of somebody, it's like, oh, the whataboutism. Well, you're like, oh, well, they did it. Yeah, no, they're both fucked. What's your point? Like, it's like if you're telling your friend that you're having a shitty time and they're like, but I'm having a shitty time. It's like, oh, I'm sorry to hear that you're having a shitty time too. Like, can we both just have a shitty time? Is it a competition for who's having the shittiest time?
It's like that time we're driving down the dirt road to Burning Man for 3 hours, you know? Oh, the radio is only Christian rock. Stop it. Yeah.
I hope somebody knows the origin for this quote, but it's one of my favorite that I always hear in my head. And it's like, your suck doesn't make my suck any less suck.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah, and you could put other nouns in, like your government suck doesn't make my government suck any less suck. Like that's the other thing. Like just because we're looking at how bad it is in Israel, and I think for the first time, because a lot of people, it's the new idea that Israel isn't like perfect. And I guess I don't know how that works, but I guess just people are busy and they're not thinking about it. But they're like, yeah, Israel's great because it's saving the Jewish people, and like that's just a reductionist statement, not thinking about is the government infrastructure designed to help the most amount of people in the state of Israel. That's like, you don't think about that right away, right?
Tell me how wrong this is to think of Israel as like the inversion of a Native American reservation. It's like instead of forcing people to go into an area they don't want to be, you've got people that are like forcibly, I guess, putting themselves like it seems like the inverse of a reservation.
It depends. Right. I think a lot of people don't want to be pioneers, but they feel like they have to because they were trained as soldiers and like they have to go be in like the worst places. I think most people in Israel probably want to be like, if you go to Israel, like, yeah, I can be around more. Like a lot of people come from cities, you know, so they want to go to a city and they want to be in a city. But the next generation or the generation after that's been trained to be soldiers, they might be more inclined to say, okay, I need to defend like the boundaries of that city by being in the most dangerous place so that the most dangerous things go through me first, right? And that's a lot of what I've heard, you know, from my friends, right? But there's also people that are saying, okay, can we have both? Can we have a situation where people can live in these places and also the danger situation is why military people are going to be there first. Like you're going to be aware of the fact that people are shooting at you and cars are exploded and people are kidnapped on either side. And it's not just nice people because you like you just said, like Hamas is like it galvanizes Palestine and their government and they become more and more extreme. But so I don't know. Same with Israel.
Yeah, no, totally. And it's just this thing of like, you know, it's like people will get certain rights and then they'll push the limits to the point where you're like, whoa, where are you going with this? So it's like, that's how I feel about like the West Bank settlements. It's like those are illegal by Israelis' own, like by Israeli law as well as international law. So it's like, and once that line got crossed, it's like, well, it's hard to defend the thing that you were initially defending because now you've overextended it into this,
right.
The peer, like, do we need to do like where's the line? Like, and that's why you just need accountability. But there's a lot of lack of accountability all over the world, and then we hyper focus on whatever the hot topic is at the time. It wasn't long ago that it was Ukraine. That was fucked up too. Like, and that was planned a long time in advance as well. One could argue, you know.
Right.
Where you're just like, dude, this was like a larger scheme, and now we're reacting to it as this is just this sudden thing that just, whoa, what is Russia doing? It's like, dude, you guys, freaking Lindsey Graham went and promised the soldiers in 2016 what he was going to do for them with John McCain. They were both there, you know, in Kyiv, and it's just like, you get what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck, guys?
Yeah. So I just want, like, since like Crypto says it seems exactly like a reservation, I just wanted to comment that, like, more like, I feel like a lot of people don't want to be where they are in the same way. Like people that have felt like, you know, imagine you're raised in a kibbutz and you're told, like, who am I? Like, well, you're this God's chosen people, and you're a member of that, and you know you are hated by people all around you, and like you have to follow these rules and all these things. So that really plays into it. There definitely is kind of reservation like qualities to some parts of Israel. You know, it's something that not all of Israel is beautiful, and although they've done a really good job making parts of it, like Tel Aviv, look like, you know, Brooklyn, or, you know, even nicer. It's like, it's crazy what you can do if you work together. So there's reasons why I think also it makes sense to like Israel because of that. Like you see a bunch of anti-war hippy dippy kids that are running around, like cool hipsters and things like that. They're not happy with the situation. And so it worries me in the idea that it's like, okay, now that people are aware that the government has at least as many problems probably as our government and more, that we should just tear it down, right? And like the alternative has maybe as many problems, but maybe not as many infrastructural solutions, right?
Yeah. I mean, I usually thinking, because I'm like a sort of an idiot, but I think of geopolitics all in the frame ring of like civilization games, right? And usually if you're trying to win, you have to pick kind of like two main courses. And to me, it's always like America has picked the military and the cultural course. So you're either going for the cultural win or the military win. The military win is usually the dumbest version because it's the riskiest. Culture win's like the easy one, but it's like a slow burn. For me, Israel is almost like they go for the religious and the military win, right? Or is like
they're intertwined.
Because they don't really have like a strong cultural push. If you were to separate religion from culture, it almost seems like it's just an extension of the American military plus the religious, you know, fervor of the region itself.
Well, this has always been my rabbi's concern for a long time, is that conflation of Judaism as a religion with the nation state, that to link them together so that because they've been kind of, the Zionist approach has been to push those together completely.
Oh my God, one more synchronicity.
And now we
Rabbit.
Oh yeah.
Why'd you do that? Sorry, David. Keep going.
I think of this movie a lot, like, because it, like that scene where have I discussed this on the show before? I can't remember. But like when there's the people hanging there.
Oh man, because it's also the director of the new. This is Wakiti, right?
Yeah. Totally.
That's too many syncs at once.
You know when when the people are hanging in the streets and the kid asks his mother what they did, and she says what they could. Scarlett Johansson says what they could. Like, I've thought about that so much, like just that basic idea of like, you do what you can. And like, that's not martyrdom, like in the sense of like, you know, sacrificing yourself, like knowing that that's what you're doing. You're just trying to do the right thing. And whatever happens as a repercussion of that is to be accepted to whatever degree you can accept it, you know, like it's deep, dude. Jojo Rabbit's fucking deep.
Since this is SyncTank, I gotta point out that Head in the Clouds is a movie that Charlize Theron's in, where she plays, I think, like a mistress to a German officer.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember that one.
There's also the Aeon Flux sort of connection, right? Because they've both technically been a live action anime, which is a much smaller club than you would expect for American females being remade into animes.
Charlize Theron was in Aeon Flux.
Yeah. She even drinks in this movie too.
That I feel like that's a good tie to Ghost in the Shell for sure.
Oh yeah. I was trying to remember what the other one that was similar was earlier in this
Resident Evil also, you know, with Resident Evil and what's her name? You know, Mila Jovovich.
Mia Jovovich?
Yeah. She's in so
many.
Jovovich
is definitely, she's Joan of Arc.
Oh, dude, well, we have a direct connection now between Scarlett and Mia through Fifth Element and Leon the Professional, right?
Oh,
right.
Man.
because
Leon the professional.
Leon the professional.
Natalie Portman.
That was Natalie Portman. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Oh, right.
Oh, sorry. I still.
It gets tricky. We got to keep each other
and
honest.
Natalie Portman. Natalie Portman was born in Jerusalem. You know.
Yeah, she is the. If you excuse the term, I do not mean it derogatory, but she is the Jewish princess.
Dude, she's the portal in South
Park. I thought that was Sarah Silverman. No, sorry. No, Sarah Silverman. She has an interesting angle. Whatever you think about her, because her whole thing is kind of like Eminem, where it's like he knows the things that are going to come at him, so he drops it first. She she takes all the stereotypes that people could put on her, and she just like becomes it to the level of absurdity. And then people can't really say much because she's just like, no, yeah, I'm that, and I'm going to be the snarky version of that. That's so, you know.
Which I kind of like. I can't help but kind of like her. Everyone's supposed to not, and I just like, I don't know. I kind of,
you know what, people, yeah. What was it? I Smile Back. That's a drama that she's in. That's actually, that's not a bad movie. And like all the people who were in that were like comics, but they're not being comics. And she's like, you know, a woman struggling with addiction and basically losing custody of her kids. And it's just like, it's a really good movie. But is it? I like it when they do that. I like it when you have like people who we only associate with comedy, and then they're just like do a super serious movie.
Well, because comics are always so sad. I don't know. She was she played basketball with Gary Shandling because Gary Shandling had like a basketball court. That's how she got her first big break.
Politically, she's extremely cringe, Sarah Silverman. I mean, do I even have to say this?
Yeah, but I thought it was ironic though. Sometimes I think like, is he just kidding? Because like her, I don't know. Maybe
there's a fine line. Is she self like editing is what you're saying? Is she I just think playing the game?
The things she says are so freaking hilarious. Like she'll find like a plumber marks on the ground, like this area is where some pipes are under. You know, there's like an L shape and stuff. Yeah. And then she's like, did I find a swastika like in the middle of the street and stuff like that? And like, are you kidding? Because like maybe you're just joking. In which case, you're actually hilarious. Right. A lot of people are doing that for real. So if you were doing that as a joke, that would be like Andy Kaufman level brilliant. So I don't know. I want to give her credit that like her whole online presence is like she just wants to be like, you know, Ed Wood meets Tim Wood. No, who's the other one?
The genius there would be in being able to like intuitively blur that line between hypocrisy and irony, right? Yeah. Where it's like if she's self-aware, but she's able to hide that she's self-aware to that level, that would be commendable. But I don't know if I'm convinced if the self-awareness is actually there, because
if it's actually there.
Yeah, I mean, but that's
exactly what I'm getting at.
Aspect, right?
No, that's what. But you're saying what I was trying to get at. So that's it. Like you just said it. Like it's weird that you're like, "Where's going?" Yeah, we got
that.
We don't need to keep talking about Sarah Silverman on it.
Let's go back to the Israel and Palestine now that we're on a roll. Let's fucking get these things knocked out.
You know what? I think we're gonna solve that tonight. I think that when we, you know,
Jojo the Rabbit. Everyone just needs to watch that movie, and it'll probably help a lot. I don't know.
God. Speaking of which, we've always had a debate in our house. Like, there's been this argument on which one was better. Was it Scarlett Johansson or Jennifer Connelly? And I always thought it was funny because somehow they sit within the same like sync territory.
Jennifer Connelly is like on the same evil level as Charlize Theron to me. I don't. I think Scarlett Johansson's become more and more evil over the years, but like I remember her in a way that just doesn't seem like. I don't know. It's just maybe like
you just think all women are evil. That's what it is.
Mila Jovovich, Scarlett Johansson
on the couch.
Mila Jovovich is kind of with Charlize Theron and Jennifer Connelly also.
Let me ask you this, Will. What out of the three actresses, who seems the most likely that they would summon them from like a dark, you know, like ritualistic, you know, temple or
Jennifer
something?
Connelly.
Like she's the one that you would summon for like dark forces or something.
Oh God, yeah, of course. Sandra Bullock, maybe. Yeah, Sandra Bullock and Jennifer Connelly.
Connelly honestly looks like, to me, because she's been married for like fucking 20 some odd years now. She reminds me of like Stepford Wife or like what you would see in Eyes Wide Shut. You get what I mean? Like. Yeah. She's definitely, to me, Connelly is elite. Like I told you guys, when I was trying to teach the friggin' AI how to do sync, it would always shut down with Connelly. It would be like, nope, you're timed out.
No, but you got somewhere with it and you showed it to me and it was incredible.
Right. I had to play a game with it. I had to play a game. I had to like create a game. But I mean, it might be different now. AI is like so much, like I think now they have like personalized little chatbots you can make. I bet you if you're the first one to be smart enough to do it, you could make one that would do sync work for you. And then you could call it like, I don't know, Jake Kotza 2.0 or something like that. And it would be your like personal guide.
SyncBot.
SyncBot. Perfect.
Hal 2024.
Right.
Yeah.
You call it Johnny 5 or Max Headroom, whichever floats your boat.
Here's the Hermes Trismegistus Mistral model.
Right. This one was specifically trained on esoteric text exclusively. So this would, like, the point here being, though, is that don't just go to ChatGPT and make one of their stupid little ChatGPT like custom bot things, because every time you ask that a question, it preloads it with like all kinds of stupid like neutering phrases. So if you run one of these custom models, it gets over that. What's that?
A filter. It's a filter, right? Like you're asking it a question, it runs it through the filter, and then
functionally it's a filter, but so it does multiple things. But one of the things that it also does is that every time you say like, you know, suggest the name for my cat, well, what it's really saying is like 5 paragraphs of like, hey, I'm about to ask you a question. Don't say anything offensive. Don't say anything that's violent. Don't like. It says
you have to break through bias. You have to break through all of its programming, but that's like what I had to do just to even get it taught. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like Jennifer Connelly was almost a bias. Like to get around her was like an effort to get it. I had to take out all new age language, I guess you would say, all conspiracy talk, just to get it to even talk about sync.
But when you say what, I assume you're talking OpenAI ChatGPT here.
Right. Yeah. And I'm like talking about like 3.5 or something. I'm like talking about
if you get
not even what's out there now or what you could pay to
that's
like be
you don't need to pay people money, bro. Like we're talking about. Like you can just get this, download this model, run. I can't show you right now, but Alpaca. Oh, we start to update. Cool.
Well, look at
run Alpaca.
I sent you too.
Alpaca Olama. Just get yourself the Alpaca Olama AI system. It's real quick. You just like run it, set it, run and gun. You got it going. Then you just install the model you want, and now you've got your computer is computing. Your computer just became self-aware. You know what I'm saying, dude? It's like it's Trevor Moore.
Well, I was been thinking of that for the last 5 minutes. My computer just becomes self-aware.
God bless Trevor Moore. Trevor Moore, dude. Light a candle for Trevor.
We should get him on the show.
Don't do this.
We can do a seance. Let's do a seance with a Ouija board.
I've been meaning to. I've been thinking about that. I actually was thinking I wanted to do some seances with Trevor Moore, Norm Macdonald, a couple people. I thought that would be like the way to do it. We should do that.
Tracy Twyman did that with Prince like just before she died, and it was so good.
Oh, don't scare me. Is it like a bad move if I do it?
And they realized like an hour into it that they were not talking to Prince, and you're like, dude, you guys, it took you that long? Like they're like, who are you talking to? Spooky.
Even the dead do great Prince impressions, right?
It was full circle with Mia Farrow.
I just wanted to show this to Will. So this is there's much better ones. This is just the first one that I found on Google, so don't judge me from the first one that I found. But if you keep scrolling, ERP I believe stands for like erotic roleplay, but keep going down. There's some other language models, and they have rankings. For example, some are like have crime rankings, like how much they know about certain types of crime. Some have racist rankings, like how much propensity they are to sound like a 4chan board. This is just one of, look at all the models.
Some of these are perverted, some of these are lewd, some of these are
exactly,
sexy,
and it goes all the way down to like vanilla and boring and tamed.
Tamed.
But look at how many they're ranking. 165 separate models. This is like 165 completely different models that are separate from ChatGPT. ChatGPT would be like number 166.
Yeah.
You should these are LLMs. If you teach, I'll give you the cheat. You have to teach that the interpretation of movies is like the interpretation of dreams or poetry. And then the GPT should, or the chatbot should like just go nuts with sync, because once it understands movies or cinema in the same way that it understands the like symbolic interpretation of literature, it gets the game.
So the future is not just like a psychopathic language model, but a recursive neural network that can check its facts, connect things, put weights on people's statements and quotations. And that's going to be pretty useful, because right now we just kind of have to check its work the entire time by talking to it. But pretty soon it'll be able to infer like this is like a really deep synchronicity. There's a lot of weight to that synchronicity. And I think that's going to be probably in the 6 months, that'll be cool. Will, what are you working on? You doing some meta egg stuff? I know you and Frank Zero did a cool
my goodness, I have been busy. Let's see. I talked to David Gill.
By the way,
this
is the individual. This is Satan with a Ouija board listening to Prince records, talking to Tracy Twyman. Keep going.
That's dope.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Purple rain, purple rain.
This is what it sounds like when doves cry. I'm sorry, you were doing some amazing stuff and I interrupted you. Keep going.
I've never done in my life anything as important as Prince, but most recently on Meta Egg, I have talked to David Gill. What you see right there is the PKD University. This is an individual who has taken Philip K. Dick's life and basically made a college level course. And that's not to say that it's represented by a college. I'm just saying that you have individuals who are professors who are teaching a course on Philip K. Dick. Now, in Meta Egg, I wanted to get to a point. It was basically me marketing to Star Wars and Marvel people, but they thought it was too weird. So at phase 2, I wanted to get more into Synchromysticism. And the only way to do that, the only way to really teach like these dudes how important movie synchronicity was to introduce them to Philip K. Dick. This gentleman, since he had a class on Philip K. Dick, worked perfectly. And then after that, I think that it's relevant to talk about this because Frank Zero and I had a whole episode on NASA. That's how we started. If you go to hit the live tab, and then you go down and you'll see that the rise and fall of Peter Parker and the spiders from NASA.
Right.
Which is right there. Me and Frank Zero, just like a few hours ago, had this whole situation where he has tied most Spider-Man lore to either working with NASA or having to do with rocket launches and shuttle launches. And so he sent me a whole bunch of stuff, and it just blew my mind.
And
so I've had my mind blown a couple of times in the last couple of weeks, I guess just 1 week. And now tonight, after this show, I'm doing a show with David Plate.
There you go. That's pretty cool.
We're going to look at his music and album Syzygies. And we're going to look in particular one that he just published called Rosemary's Baby, Rosemary's White Album, followed by the Manson Family's album.
The Manson family sings the songs of Charles Manson.
That's right. And I have taken extensive notes, and David and I are going to kick it back for like an hour and talk about his work.
Does someone own the copyright on Charles Manson's lyrics?
That's an interesting question. A friend of mine did a cover of one of his songs. Nehadar did a cover of one of his songs, and yes and no. I think you're fine. I think you can probably pretty much do anything you want with Manson.
Who would it be?
I really kind of think it'd be cool though if I went to court. I'm gonna do it.
Out of the freaking
it won't be a regular thing. It won't be like you're gonna get something, sent to you or whatever. It's gonna be somebody physically shows up at your house and tells you to stop. But I don't think that that's going to happen in all likelihood. It depends on how far you go with it or what you're doing with it specifically. But yeah, I think you can pretty much get away with doing anything you want with Manson's music.
Oh, that's it. Now I'm gonna do one right now, just because you said that. This is immediate.
Oh god. What's worse, using a Ouija board or putting Charles Manson lyrics into AI and asking it for
What's
a
your
song?
favorite Charles Manson song? Mine's Look at
Never
Your
Say
Game
Never to
Girl.
Always. Absolutely.
Never Say Never Always is always
November Rain by Guns N' Roses.
There's a Look at Your Game Girl. Definitely my favorite Charles Manson song. It's really good. Let me see. I'll go to do the early access for 3.5. We'll set that up real quick and get that going. See how that goes.
Yeah, I like the version of Never Say Never to Always that's on the Manson Family Sings more than the Lie album, though they're both good. But it's girls, it's their song, really.
I really like his later work.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot. Like, if you can find a torrent of like Manson music, and it's extensive. I mean, it's a very large catalog.
All right, let's do a synthy Marilyn Manson. Hold on, let's start it over. Here we go. Check this. Wait, go back to
Damn, that quick?
Marilyn.
Manson would have killed in the 80s.
Yeah. This is it.
The time keeps on flying. Think you're loving, baby. All you do is crying.
Oh, I can't believe we did it. We invented Manson Wave just now. We did this together. Everybody.
Look at your game, girl.
Dude, Manson would have killed in the 80s.
Look at your game, girl.
He never killed before, so would have been good for him to do that in the 80s.
Who do you think plays better guitar, David Koresh or Charles Manson?
Oh, that's a hard.
Koresh was a noodler.
Koresh probably could shred, bro.
Manson
Koresh was a noodler. I don't know about shred, but Koresh was definitely like a guitar player.
He was the noodling.
Charles Manson could play guitar, though. Like, these did some amazing stuff. I'm surprised.
But was it electric?
It was never electric.
I'm sure he could have if he wanted, though, right?
That's the difference. I was going to say that was David Koresh was electric guitar. It's a whole other.
David Koresh. This, God forgive me. David Koresh was the Bob Dylan switch over.
Oh, right. Okay.
For Manson.
Let's find David Koresh electric guitar.
It is kind of wild though, because David Koresh, the same way that he was electric, right? He also had some of the first electric MK Ultra directed at him. Like, they literally roll out like quarter stacks and half stacks and blast them with like rabbits dying and dolphin noises.
Yeah, they brought out. Well, it's interesting because like if you actually look in the papers, I don't think it was their idea. There was multiple individuals, because there's just like directly after Nicaragua. And in Nicaragua, they had like hooked up.
You're putting a pretty hard R on that Nicaragua.
Shush your face hole.
All right.
Okay. So they had hooked up these big speakers and they had played rock music until they had come out, right? So when Waco happened, a bunch of individuals called in and basically said that this was a good idea, including, this is what's amazing, Iron Butterfly. Iron Butterfly called the FBI and actually offered to come and play Indagata da Vida in front of the Waco compound for 24 hours straight. But instead of doing that, the FBI basically hooked up big speakers. And when they first started playing rock music, they played like they played rock music. They thought that rock music would get those people to come out when they were actually like up underneath a rock band. So instead of coming out, like the people inside the compound basically yelled out like, play the new Def Leppard and stuff like that. So, and they started playing like Dead Rabbits, and I think they played Tibetan Monks. They played all kinds of stuff.
They invented Enya for that. Yeah, I know. It's like I actually bought that CD. Pure Moods. They played Pure Moods. Did you ever watch the movie with Bob Hoskins? Noriega is God's favorite.
No.
Wow.
Who Framed Noriega? It's a really good movie. I really recommend it. It's everything you just said and a little bit more, because you can actually I would actually say, if you can't have time to watch this movie, get the soundtrack I'm not kidding. It's like it is what you'd expect. They 24 hours a day for 3 or 4 weeks played like Ace of Base. I think was also included on that album.
Was
So
it Def Leppard? Who
maybe
came
it's
out
before that? When is it? Noriega. Let's find out when this is. Noriega, God's favorite.
You know what they play now? They play "Shares Do You Believe in Life After Love" over and over and over again.
Well, what you do is you go to Spotify and you can type in like the Guantanamo Bay playlist, and it's up there, you know, and it's yeah, it gets played a lot. I forget when exactly.
Iron Maiden, not Def Leppard. It was the new Iron Maiden.
That's the thing. The metal music, like you said, like East Germans, they would play in West Germany rock and roll because that would get people excited about America. You know what I mean?
I just found something out the other day from Alice Cooper. He was saying that the Final Countdown was a response to Space Oddity. And that's what the Final Countdown is. Like it's the takeoff. Like that was their whole initial concept.
This might be.
And it was kind of tripping me out because I was like, yeah, so you have Highway to Hell was a response to Stairway to Heaven, but I never thought of the Final Countdown as a response to Space Oddity. That's just kind of weird.
Dude.
But the reason I was thinking is because there's a camp at Burning Man that all they do for 6 days straight leading up to the temple is they just blast the Final Countdown on repeat 24 hours a day for all 6 days, and they actually have to have security there because people will try and destroy it, like because there's people camped around it. So the way I first found out about this was like one of my first years, somebody was just like, I have to move my tent. They wanted to camp by our camp,
God.
you know, because they were just like, this is insane. And I was like, dude, our camp is really loud. And they're like, you don't understand. They're playing the Final Countdown 24 hours a day, and I can't get anywhere near it. Like it's like protected, like they've hired security. I was like, that's nuts, dude.
Run by Dr. Ewan Cameron in the back.
Oh, this might be. This one. There we go. There he is. World famous Sam the Newsman.
Listen, is your middle name The? What is all this The stuff? What are you talking about?
Do it every time. I feel bad. I'm sorry. Sam Newsman.
Listen, is your middle name The?
Sam Newsman is a newsman. He's not.
There you go. Well, but the Newsman just happens to be my last name. What are you doing?
But you are also the most trusted puppet reporter in media history.
Listen, you know what I want to be? I want to be in the same conversation that David Koresh and Charles Manson is for who's the better guitar player. I mean, if that is not the conversation of the evening.
I feel like Boussolet is better than both of them put together. Let's be honest.
What's it? Say that again.
Bobby Boussolet is better than both of them put together. If you listen to Voodoo Shavaya, the album that actually he lost his rollover, he would have got out of prison if it wasn't for that fucking album. Like that's some crazy.
If you all had just listened to the Apollo album by L. Ron Hubbard, you would know that the greatest musician in cult history is LHR. Right? Come on, LRH. Sorry.
Well, hey, listen. You know what? You know the rumor is on the independent circuit. That before he became famous, that Jeffrey Dahmer played guitar with his tongue.
Oh.
So, I mean, hey, see? No, hey, wait, too soon? Too soon? Too soon? No, wait, just listen. I'm sitting there thinking about, we're going to talk about Garfield, and I'm sitting there wondering about, well, listen, I want to get into that conversation.
I just want everyone to know, like, before
I want to start playing guitar myself, you know, my little felt fingers.
Do you think Garfield? I feel like Scientology is related to Garfield. You know, the Chipmunks are, so I don't see why that would actually make plenty of sense in a weird way.
Are they in the same universe? Are they in the same universe? That's
who owns the Chipmunks now? Ownership.
I got to point out too, the People's Temple cut a couple albums, so there might be something to like cults that release legit music out there.
Dude, Viacom owns Garfield. Chipmunks is Baxidarian, but I think Baxidarian worked with Viacom, so there's something there because of the 3D Alvin Chipmunks show, right? So I don't know.
I guess. I heard something the other day. It said through all the iterations of Garfield merchandising, what is the secret to Garfield's ongoing success and continued relevance? Interviewed for Garfield and Friends, Jim Davis once said, I think Garfield takes our guilt away for being essentially lazy slobs.
Yeah.
We're constantly hearing exercise, reduce cholesterol, lower your fat intake. Garfield's out there saying, go ahead, have that donut. He
have that lasagna.
Is the anti-hero. That is from Jim Davis himself. An anti-hero. And that's why I guess Garfield is still relevant.
It's one of the reasons, yeah.
And listen, whoever had that idea should be drug out into the street and shot. That's what he is.
With the vaccine to keep safe.
Wait, yeah, no, in Minecraft, right? That's what this is. You're supposed to. Anytime you say something that could possibly, be considered violent, you sit there, you end it with in Minecraft. So then the people know that you're talking about video games.
Can we change that? Can we say in Garfield from now on?
In Garfield, in the comics, that's a good one, right? In the comics.
I feel like an anti-hero needs meaning, right? Like, isn't like they have a struggle? So is Garfield's struggle just against being himself? That's like basically the world's trying to say it's wrong, and he's like, it's not wrong. This is who I am.
People would say that's the same anti-hero method that what is it? Who's
Koresh?
Charles Wolverine. Oh yeah, Wolverine. And in the X-Men, he's kind of the anti-hero.
He's yellow.
Oh, no, that's gold.
Oh yeah, but Wolverine.
If Wolverine's not the anti-hero, then Deadpool is.
Yes, here. That is true. That is very true. But gentlemen, I just want to say it's been a very interesting conversation, and of course, I was sitting there thinking, well, what am I going to talk about? And then you started talking about guitar playing, David Koresh, and yeah, I mean, I don't. Hashtag I can't.
You got to listen to
What?
like YouTube recordings.
Is there a remix out there?
We got the new cover. We just made that new cover. But like
hold on. Wait, what?
Did you not hear the new one? I'll do it again. I actually have like two, so I might as well do it one more time.
Yeah, look at your Game Girl Manson wave.
Yeah, here's the second version.
Manson and David Koresh. The remix of remixes.
David Charles, please. David Charles, please.
You're loving me, baby. And all you do is crying. Can you feel all these feelings real?
All these feelings real?
Look at your game, girl.
Look at your game, girl.
Look at your game, girl.
I knew he was gonna do that.
What a mad delusion. Living in that confusion. Frustration.
This should probably get us on a watch list if we're not already in it.
Without the game, besides that game.
Stay out of that chat room, David.
What's happening?
Stay out of the chat room. David, please stay out of the chat room.
I'm not in the chat room.
Listen, listen. You just can't write things that great, but I just want to say that it's been a fantastic journey every single Tuesday night when I see all of you together. And so thanks so much, Andreas, for allowing me to just pop in here for a moment. So can I just say,
I was going to say, I know like we've got like 24 hours. We have a kind of an important announcement to make. I kind of feel like we should share.
Yes.
If you guys know this, that the Richmond entertainment ballot is set up to have the best show in Richmond. And like, we got this worldwide radio show hosted by Sam Newsman. And all you got to do is vote. You know, if you're going to vote for somebody, vote for Sam Newsman. That's like the only kind of democratic process I believe in. So you go to like the Instagram, you click on the Richmond link, it'll take you right here. You click on entertainment, and then from there you type in Newsman, and boom, you click on his name, and you're ready to vote.
Well, the great thing about that is that you're going to click on that, and you might have to register, and but they're not going to spam you. I promise you that. But you do want to tell your friends, family, and additional emails and secret emails as well. Tell them to all vote too. Right.
This is what we need you guys to do. We need you guys to support like actual art. I'm a fan of art. I like art like that. Even when Charles Manson makes art, I'm a fan of it. Clearly. So.
Now, listen, I can't tell you if I'm going to be playing Charles Manson on Saturday morning, but
probably will. I got some good ones for you.
Oh, you got some good ones, Charles Manson. Yeah. Was it the Manson and Koresh duo singing the Chipmunks?
You know who also is really good?
The Smurfs cover. The Smurfs, mask cover.
One of my favorites is John Hinckley Jr. I feel like we could do something with him. He does some really great stuff as well. He shot Reagan.
You, Andreas, were mentioned in the New York Times. You were name dropped in the New York Times over your interest in Hinckley.
I like his music. I don't know what else I can say.
That's all they said. They were like, this guy likes his music. I was like, what? Who gets a name drop like that? Where they're like, oh, well, this person likes this musician. It was just kind of interesting.
It was a good nod to my reality. I don't know what it means yet. I hope I don't drive as much anymore.
Well, once again, listen, here's the real question. Who had the better worship song? Was it Manson or Koresh? You heard it here first, probably nowhere else other than this.
I would expect Manson has more views.
Did you say worship or warship?
Hey, listen, you know what?
Then we're back to L. Ron Hubbard with the warship.
That's a really good point. I guess it depends on what state they were in. You know?
Koresh had the better worship. Yeah.
But the better worship song goes to Kanye because
dude was talking about Merkabas.
Can we ask the guys in the front row with their hands up in the air? Oh no, we can't. I guess we probably can't. They're probably
don't have any hands. They're
pushing daisies. Oh well.
But if you are interested though, and you want to get the Juniors Motel album by David Koresh, Voices of Fire, you can get it.
Right.
And you can listen to that right now, and you'd understand what we're saying when it's like, dude, like
you will not understand.
In all my life, listen, as someone who hosts Saturday morning radio shows where I'm playing cartoon themes every Saturday morning, if you would have said, hey Sam, there's going to be a point in time where you're talking Manson and Koresh, who had the better worship music, I would have been like, well, listen, I don't know if I'll be in that conversation, but well, you know what? Here I am now. Here I am.
Yeah. Well, we don't want to recommend.
I'm a big fan of Sam. I think I'm a fan of Sam.
I'm a fan of Sam.
Thank you. Hey, listen, I'm a fan of you. I'm a fan of all of you. And David, listen, I'll tell you what. I don't go to church. I don't go to a synagogue. I don't go to a preacher. But if you end up becoming a rabbi, listen, I'll follow you.
It's too much work. I couldn't do it. And I think that disappoints my own rabbi, but you know what? I'm not going to a yeshiva. I like to study how I like to study.
What if it's like,
that's right. Well, listen, hey, we can still smoke up and talk art.
It could be a Sesame Street yeshiva. You could only bris felt. There's all kinds of solutions to this. Mythoclast gifted a membership. God bless you, Mythoclast. You're a beautiful human being. David's got a thing also. You just put this out, right? Or is this a new one?
I didn't just put this out. This is the Voodoo Shavaya, and I saw somebody was asking for the spelling. So this is Bobby Boussalet's album that he was denied parole over having messages sent in order to produce it. So he produces from prison, and I play it with the film Bronson, who was the UK's most Charles Bronson, not the actor. But he was the most famous inmate in the UK of all time, pretty much. But yeah, so it's
wow.
Just wow, indeed.
That's pretty base. Well, I mean, and then we shared Paranoid American. Let me share your link too. But you guys know Paranoid American's got this new project, so we all want to make sure you guys check that out. Like we said, the NASA thing is out. A little quick reminder.
Ready for a cosmic conspiracy about Stanley Kubrick, moon landings, and the CIA? Go visit nasacomic.com.
nasacomic.com, CIA's biggest.
Yeah, and then also make sure to go to nasacomic.com because there's another thing that's about to happen. I only have a few minutes left because we're about to start the next thing. With David Plate, if you guys are interested in his synchromistic work, about to have this great meta-egg look
discussion.
Discussion and analyzation, right?
Analyzation.
I gotta be careful with that word, especially psychoanal.
That works. That's fine.
Be careful about psychoanal. But
I just wanted to shout out that if you do sign up early before we launch in about 2 weeks from now, then if you get a printed comic, you'll get this exclusive trading card that's got a depiction of Stanley Kubrick directing the Beatles and Lord of the Rings, and this won't be available to anyone unless you sign up first.
There you go. There you go.
Neat.
All right, guys, get up in there. And then, like I said, go to Sam Newsman to click on that link and like support his station so that people know that his show is the best show, ultimate show, apex show, or else, you know, you might hear a few more Koresh songs on the radio than you would like to.
Yeah, by AI. By AI.
By freaking AI.
Yeah, by AI. In Minecraft.
Right.
In Garfield. That's right. In Garfield.
Everybody stick around for the Meta Egg show. See you soon.
Yeah.